Hello, 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 hello. Thank you for tuning in to my S2S radio. Here where this is the non-judgment zone, and we ask everybody, what's your story? So my name is Shannon Anderson. I am a best-selling author, speaker, a coach, and I help you with your transition and helping you walk in power and find your story, your voice, and your freedom. Right. I do so many things, I know, but I am so passionate about them all. I also help people write and publish their stories so that they can make impact in the world. So today's story or topic, today's topic for my S2S radio is helping you find your voice and your freedom. Now, this is a good one. This is a juicy one. So definitely make sure that you get a pen and a pad and write down these notes that I'm getting ready to give you. So, owning your voice and your freedom. Oh my gosh, those two go hand in hand. I am the queen of owning my voice. I have mastered taking my story and using it to impact the lives of others. And that to me is owning my voice. So I wrote my book, Stripper to Striver, in 2017. I am now in the process of re-releasing it. I've done the documentary and I'm also getting ready to do another project with it. So I'm saying that to say that I have taken my story and I've turned it into different ways and different formats so that people can digest it, and I use it to impact the lives of those who actually take it in. So, owning your voice. The keys to owning your voice is being authentic. I had to learn to just completely be authentic with myself, to completely hone in on what I'm good at, and to completely be as transparent as I possibly could. And this has totally taken me into another level of my life that I would never have imagined. So many people contact me and want to work with me and listen to my podcast and all kinds of stuff. And even this podcast is an extension of my story. It's just another way for me to feed into the lives of others. And I cannot tell you how happy it makes me. I recently got a testimony, which I get many testimonies from my clients, but this one in particular stood out to me because she talked about how much it freed her. And she said that while I was helping her write her story, that she went in with the thought of helping others, but in turn freed herself. And I just want to tell you, that's what owning your voice and that's what making impact will do for you. And even God talks about it, and even, he speaks about it. And when we are doing things for others, it automatically helps us, right? So even if you go and speak at an event, you go and speak at a shelter, you go and volunteer and give your time to the less fortunate, you are automatically helping and freeing yourself as you're helping and freeing someone else. And that is the beauty of owning your voice. And that's why I tied it and connected it to owning your freedom. Because as you own your voice, you will be set free at the same time. And I tell you, I thank God every day that he gives me the ability and that he has trusted me enough to be able to help other people do the same. So, owning your voice and owning your freedom should be high on your priority list. Even if you never write a book or anything like that, just being true and authentic to yourself and walking in your power is so freeing and so healing. I cannot tell you how much it has changed my life. So, being able to write the book Stripper to Striver, being able to share my story, being able to tell my testimony, not only has freed others, but it has freed me in the process. And to be able to see the lives that it impacts is, it's priceless. I can't even put a price tag on it. I can't tell you how happy it makes me and how much more it heals me, even more to see other people's lives being impacted by the things that used to hold me down. The shames, the guilts, the hurts, the setbacks, the struggles, all those things have brought me to where I am. And all of those things have helped me along the way. They made me a stronger person. They've made me look at life differently. They've made me, transition and boss up in many ways. And so I just want to encourage you to know that sometimes the storm isn't sent by the devil. Sometimes the storm is sent by God. And the storm is that time in your life when you think you can't make it, when everything is going astray, when all hell is breaking loose. But those things, sometimes all hell is breaking loose so that everything can be set in place correctly. And what I noticed is, as I was going through my transition, everything was blowing up in my face. Everything was going wrong. But what I realized is that when there's a shift in the atmosphere, that's what's going to happen. As you start to shift and transition your life, there will be a shift in the atmosphere. And at first, it's going to feel like an earthquake. At first, it's going to feel like everything has been shaken up. Everything has been moved around. Everything is out of place. But that's what's supposed to happen because it's a shift. And in order for things to shift, that means you're turning things upside down. That means you are completely transforming your life to something that is unrecognizable. So in order for that to happen, everything in your life has to move or make some type of movement. And there will be people that will go out of your life as new people are coming in. Situations that are in your life right now will start to shift and move out as new situations and opportunities come in. So I want you guys to know that that is normal. All right. The shift will shake up everything in your life so that it shakes out the old and it brings in the new. Okay. So being authentic to yourself, loving yourself regardless of the flaws, loving yourself regardless of the mistakes, and forgiving yourself. That is the second part of owning your voice. It's the forgiving phase. And that phase to me was the hardest phase because I felt like I had done so many things wrong. I felt like I had made so many mistakes. I felt as if some of the things I had done were unforgivable. But I gave those things to God, and of course, He forgave me. And a lot of times we'll give things to God and He'll forgive us, but we won't forgive ourselves. And until you forgive yourself, there will not be impact. Until you forgive yourself, there will not be a change. And until you forgive yourself, you cannot walk into the fullness of what God has for you and your full potential. So I had to really, really dig deep down inside and truly forgive myself and understand that the things that I had gone through and the so-called mistakes were really just learning lessons. And once I put that into perspective, once I turned my mistakes and turned them into learning lessons, I was like, okay, now I can accept it. Now I can deal with it. And now those so-called mistakes are things that people come to me for to help them along their journey and their path. And I tell you, it is a wonderful feeling to be able to do that. And so owning my voice and setting my own path and being authentic to myself has really, really transformed my life and catapulted me into a position that I could never have imagined. And I still have so much more to do, and I still have so far to go. However, I cannot tell you how thankful that I am that I did the work. Okay? And so that's number 3, doing the necessary work. The shift, the transition, transition, the owning your voice, the walking in your power, all of that does not come by chance. You literally have to do the work, okay? And so the work for me meant, 1, being transparent. The work for me meant 2, taking action. And also forgiving. So owning my voice, being authentic, forgiving myself, and then taking action. So once I forgave myself, that's when I was able to start the writing process with my book. And through writing my book, it took me through a whole different level of healing. And it really made me dig and go back throughout my life and look and be able to read it back to myself. Like being able to see my life on paper, read it back to myself and saying, wow, now I can see my own life through the lens of someone else. Because, when you're caught in something, when you're living it yourself, you don't quite see it as clear. You don't see it clear. And so that's what writing a book helps you do. It helps you to see your life more through the lens of someone else. And so it was able to help me to connect the dots. It was able to help me to see, okay, this is where I need to grow. This is the lesson that I learned from that situation. And this is what I need to do next. And so even in the forgiving process, I not only had to forgive myself, but there were other people that I had to forgive. And the forgiving process was a huge portion of it. Because like I said, for me, it was the most difficult part of my process. So after I was able to do that and I was finally ready to release the book, I was so nervous. And even now that I'm getting ready to re-release it, I'm so nervous. You just kind of get those jitters in your stomach, but it's all relevant. So after that, I took action. I started speaking. I started telling people about the book. I started telling people about my story. I started going on social media and speaking at, different events and stuff like that, and volunteering and speaking at shelters and all that. And just to be able to see other people relate to my story and to be able to take the things that once held me down, use those same things to lift someone up is amazing. And the things that I was the most ashamed about had the most impact, right? Because people are completely surprised and impacted when you can share those things of yourself that most people take to the grave. Because most people just aren't courageous enough to share them. But once they see you doing it, it gives them the courage to be able to do it for themselves and to be able to set themselves free and to be able to lift the chains. And it's so exhilarating and it puts me on a high because it makes me say, wow, the things that once held me down, the things that I was, once so ashamed of, the things that I used to cry myself to sleep at night about. Now that I get to share those things with others and to be able to see their lights and their eyes light up and say, wow, that happened to me. Wow, I did the same thing. Oh my gosh, if you can do it, then I can do it. And I say, wow, this is what it's all about. This is what it's for. Because I'm a firm believer that a lot of the things that we go through and a lot of the things that we deal with really is not even for us. Right? A lot of the things that we deal with and go through is for someone else. And so to be able to look back throughout my life and to be able to look to the future and see all of the things that I can do and will do, I cannot tell you how much joy and how much gratification it brings me. And it makes me feel like it was all worth it. I remember I used to cry myself to sleep at night and be like, what am I here for? What is this for? Who would want to talk to me? Who would want to hear this? Why am I going through this? And it was always a why. And so now I get to look back and say, wow, now I see why.